Venezuela is on the brink of collapse. Its economy is in ruins, its government surrounded by enemies, and quietly, by superpowers. While the world focuses on Gaza and Ukraine, another crisis is brewing closer to home. Washington once poured blood and treasure into the Middle East, but now its focus is shifting south. To the country with the largest oil reserves on Earth, to a regime backed by Russia, China, and Iran, to a ticking time bomb in the Americas, Venezuela. The question isn't whether the United States will get involved, it's how far it's willing to go this time. For decades, America's foreign policy focused on one principle: control the flow of oil, and you control the world. From the 1953 coup in Iran to the invasion of Iraq in the aftermath of the Arab Spring, the Middle East was not just about ideology, it was about energy security, influence, and money. Was not just fuel, it was power. But wars are costly, empires grow tired. After 20 years of conflict, America started to pull back. At home, the shale revolution made the U.S. one of the world's top energy producers. Renewables began shifting global priorities. For the first time in decades, Washington didn't need the Middle East as it once did. However, geopolitics despises a vacuum. As U.S. influence declined in one region, it had to rise somewhere else. And it did, in Latin America. Venezuela, once Latin America's wealthiest democracy, now lies in economic ruin, yet beneath its soil is the world's largest proven oil reserve, with more than 300 billion barrels. That's more than Saudi Arabia and more than Russia. It's enough to power the planet for nearly a decade. Yet it's trapped under decaying infrastructure, broken politics, and international sanctions. Together, these moves turn Venezuela into a new center of the anti-Western energy network, a smaller, Western Hemisphere version of Iran or Syria. For the U.S., that's not just an oil issue, it's a strategic nightmare in its own backyard. This conflict didn't emerge overnight. It began with Hugo Chavez. 1999, Chavez came to power with promises of equality and independence from U.S. influence. He nationalized industries, directed oil profits into welfare programs, and criticized Washington's imperialism. He became a symbol of defiance, admired by some and feared by others. But when oil prices fell, his socialist vision began to crumble. By the time Nicolas Maduro took over, Venezuela was already in decline. By 2019, inflation surpassed 1,000,000%, hospitals ran out of supplies, and millions fled to neighboring countries. That's when the U.S. took action. Washington recognized opposition leader Juan Guaido as Venezuela's legitimate president, froze billions in assets, and imposed a wave of sanctions. The goal was clear: bring down the regime. But Maduro persisted, thanks to support from Moscow, Beijing, and Tehran. In surviving, he pulled Venezuela further into their orbit. Now, the struggle over Venezuela isn't just a local issue, it's a global one. If Russia builds air bases or China controls ports in Venezuela, they gain a foothold less than 1,500 miles from Miami. That's not just a theory, it's strategy. For Washington, it's déjà vu. It recalls Cuba in the 1960s and Nicaragua in the 1980s. Each time, the fear remains: a hostile power too close for comfort. So the approach changes, not through invasion, but through pressure, economic, political, and covert. Modern warfare isn't waged with tanks, it's conducted through sanctions, cyber operations, and influence. Venezuela has become a quiet testing ground for all three. So, is America targeting Venezuela? The answer isn't a straightforward yes or no. There are no plans for invasion, no narratives about weapons of mass destruction, but there is something more subtle, perhaps more effective. The U.S. learned tough lessons from Iraq and Afghanistan. Force has limits. Regime change is unpredictable. Public opinion, both at home and abroad, has shifted. Instead of bombs, Washington now relies on economics. Instead of troops, it builds alliances. Instead of war, it engages in containment, shaping outcomes without direct conflict. Because the stakes are enormous. Venezuela represents three key pillars of 21st century energy: geography and influence. Oil remains the valuable prize that fuels the world, Proximity is a challenge right on America's doorstep. Alliances are the new currency in global order. In the 20th century, the Middle East shaped geopolitics. In the 21st century, Latin America may do the same. And Venezuela, broken, wealthy, and strategically important, could be the next front line in a quieter, colder global confrontation. In the end, it's not just about ideology or democracy. It's about who controls the levers of power in a world running low on energy and trust.